Hey everyone, welcome to Rick's Do-It-Yourself HVAC and Electrical Guide. Today I'm going to show you how to install some ceiling electrical light boxes for recessed lighting. These are them here. This is a contractor pack that you guys can purchase at any of those big box stores. Home Depot, Lowe's, anything like that. And we're going to go ahead and connect a few of these up in my basement here and wire them up, and I'm going to show you everything from A to Z how to do this. So this is our existing wiring light that we have. As you can see, I've already pulled down the light socket so you can kind of get an idea of the wiring on that. And it's just wiring on together. There's two Romex cables coming in there, and we have just a porcelain light socket. Very basic design. And we're going to pull this out and install the recessed lighting. First thing I need to do, of course, is always shut off the electricity and verify that it is off. Of course, the easy way to do this would be just to shut off the breaker and then the light will go off. But just for reference purposes, we're going to grab our trusty fluke light stick here, which will glow in the presence of electrical energy. So we're going to just verify that it's working. I'm sure you guys can see it glowing there. It's off. So I know my light stick's working at least. So we'll shut off the power, verify everything's off, and kind of go from there. Okay, the power's been shut off now, and once again we've got our light stick. See, the power is off. We can also check this with the meter. I know I got the breaker shut off. All our wiring coming in has been verified, no power. And obviously the light bulb's not on. Now, if you're going to do this, definitely don't try to just shut it off with the switch. You want to shut it off at the breaker. Don't risk the chance of somebody coming down while you're working, hit the light switch and electrocute you. So now that we got everything shut off here, I do have some auxiliary lighting hooked up so we can see everything really well. Hopefully that will come through on the camera. And I'm just going to go ahead and start disconnecting stuff here. So light bulb's pretty warm. Now a couple things, you could just pull the wiring off on the back here if we wanted to. But I'm gonna just disconnect the wiring nuts there. Now this one wasn't connected properly. See how these kind of stayed together? And then this neutral popped right off of there. This wasn't twisted around here properly. It was held in by the wiring up. That's what I'm talking to you guys before about. You don't want to just set it like that and throw it on there. So it actually won't hold it. It might hold it a little bit, but it loosened up. And that just popped right off. You don't want that to happen. And I would bet that our ground is probably set up the same way too. And yeah, you can see it. I don't know if you can make it out there, but there's a good 3/8 of an inch from the end of this one to the end of that one. That's not how to do it. So these were never even wired correctly. I haven't touched these since we moved in this house, so I kind of had an idea we might run into some things like this. So now that I got the old lamp socket pulled off, everything's been disconnected here. Now in some circumstances you might want to label where these are, which one this is, but in this circumstance I know where each one is going. Everything's wired in parallel, so there's nothing really one way or the other you know, distinguishing them, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down and pull these off and probably pull a couple of these brackets back a little bit. Okay, now we got everything disconnected there. On our wiring, there's something I wanted to, I'm not going to zoom in on it, but basically when you're doing this kind of retrofitting, when you look at the wire, right where they have the Romex sheathing cut, you want to inspect to make sure there's not, they didn't cut through the insulation on the regular wire. And so I already looked at these, and believe it or not, he didn't do it. The previous owner on a lot of the electrical, he did a lot of stuff right, but a lot of stuff wrong. And what I found is a lot of times he cut through insulation when he was trying to pull off the outside. So when you do that, you're gonna have to cut back, or in some cases some people will strip back and then wrap with electrical tape. But if you have enough length, just go ahead and just start new. If you're running short on length, then you could probably do the electrical tape, but by all means, if you have the length, might as well do it safely and trim that off. So on our electrical box here, on our light, I was going to show you this one. This is the first time I've had them where they've actually came with these connectors, and these are just push terminals. You just push your wire right in there and it locks them in. And if you can see there's actually 3 other holes so we can tie in our additional wiring going down the line. So that makes it real nice, real quick and easy. No wire nuts, or no traditional wire nuts. And we'll do that. So we'll try that out. And the other thing is too on these is that there's a divider that you can actually cut if your joists don't have enough room for them. So these ones, for instance, you know, we're coming across here, and I think they're going to be they fit just right. So looks like we'll be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and secure this up here on this one. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you also was that it has these Romex connectors that you can push the wire in right through the sides here. You just kind of push that up and you'll push your wiring in right here. So we're going to be doing that, but you're not going to be able to see it from this angle. I'll see if I can move the camera over and hook that up from there. Now we have the housing up here, and this will adjust. We can lock this into wherever we want. So that's a nice thing. We can center it off. We can measure them off so they're centered. And it might also help if you have what they call direct contact, or IC rated. But that means they can be in direct contact with insulation. So we could wire this, or you could stuff this with insulation. It's real important if you're doing this above on a ceiling for your attic. You're going to want to run insulation around that. The other thing is there's some adjustments in here. The screw right here, this will actually move this whole bezel. So if it's right up against something and you just need another 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, you can drop that down. Now keep in mind that's also going to drop this outside part, so depending on how thick your drywall is, you're going to want to keep that in mind. We have no drywall up obviously yet, so that makes it easy. Well, I've got it repositioned now so that we can you can watch me wire this up. Should be pretty simple, straightforward. We're just going to move that Romex cable, put it in our conduit box up there, and then terminate the ends of it into the onto those quick wire connects. Okay, so once again I got the wiring, put the Romex through here. I've already recut and stripped everything, and so now we're ready to terminate on the plugs here. And so luckily this makes it simple. It's color coded, so shouldn't be too hard. Let's try that one first. Push it in, it kind of locks there. That was easy enough. And then try to pull it off with all the wires. Make sure that they're good and locked in there. And I don't know if you can see the copper up there, it's kind of sticking through. So we just got our hot wire there. And I gotta get our neutral. Here's our neutral wire. This one looks a little long. I don't know if you can see that. A little longer than I like. We don't want anything sticking out. So I'm going to trim off just a bit on that. Yeah, and it's a good thing I did. It's about as long as you want it. You're going to have to be careful working around this. The sheet metal on these have some really sharp edges. I do have gloves I normally wear, but it kind of makes it tough with electrical work because it's so tight. Now you can see it kind of all popped out here, and that's not a big issue. We'll push everything back in. Ground, it doesn't really matter so much on these. So I'll make sure they're in there. See, that one just didn't go in. I'm going to trim that one too down a little bit. It's got a little rough edge on it from where it was in the wire nut before. There we go. Now I'll just tuck everything back up in here. Around. Sure everything's well pushed back of the cover plate here, and grab that. And there's our cover plate. And that's just make sure that's well and push back. Slides in the groove there and then pops on there. And we're all wired up. One down, 5 more to go. So as you can see, we got the wiring all wrapped up there. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to wire up the other ones before I turn this one on. Actually, I might as well. I could probably just flip this one on just so we can test it out for the video. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, So I just turned the breaker back on. I put the little beauty ring on there. That would basically, don't do that until you do the drywall, but I'm not sure when we're going to get the drywall up down here, so I want to put the beauty ring up there so I don't lose it. And I got the light bulb in there, and we're going to turn the switch on and see what happens. La-la-la-do, we got light. So that was it. That was pretty quick. Even with doing the video, got it done in about 35 minutes. I'm not sure how long this video ended up being, but in reality, you know, it shouldn't take you that long when you have something open like this. Obviously, if you're putting this into an existing ceiling where you have drywall, you have to access it from above, then that would be a little different. So if you got any questions, let me know. Send me an email or put a message on the post here, and if you guys got any questions. I appreciate you watching.